AKA Padders, thank you for joining me. Welcome to AKA Pad's Audio Audacity Podcast, episode 304. That's right, people. We broke 300. We broke right through that wall, and we went into what I consider the greatest animation epic of all time, of our time. Let's get through that intro, and we can discuss. Let's do this. Everyone, before we get into this episode, let me tell you something. Trial by Fire, it's my comic book. I've been working on it since 1996, 1997, since I was a senior in high school. And guess what? It's ready. It's available right now on Indiegogo. You can find it there. Just search AKA Pad, search Trial by Fire. Links in this description. Check it out. I'll appreciate it. Let's start talking about some movies. Everyone, what on earth? What am I talking? Look, I'm just banging things. What am I talking about? Okay, look, this DC animated universe, this arc that I'm breaking down for you guys. Look, it's more movies than 5, but these 5 movies, they're the ones to watch. I'm talking Justice League, Flashpoint, Justice League Paradox, whatever that one is called. I hate that title. Justice League War, Justice League Dark, Constantine, City of Demons, and Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. Oh my god, these titles are the worst, but the story is the best. And look, normally I don't like alternate universes. I don't like alternate takes. I think they've destroyed comics. They've destroyed everything. Everything you love in comics was destroyed. Part of it from an editorial standpoint of letting these alternate takes take over. But that being said, we do have something special here, and that's because these guys, these filmmakers, Jay Olivia, our director here, they commit to the bit. Shout out to Jay Olivia too. He, I just read on his Wikipedia, he's making a animated series, an animated something with Zack Snyder involving Greek mythology. Oh yeah. Okay, so why am I excited? Because I literally just got done watching Justice League Dark. Okay, this was my last one. I watched Constantine before this because I wasn't quite sure of the order. Constantine, our next episode 305, City of Demons, was very well hyped. Got very good social media traction, and for some reason I thought that was first. I jumped on that one, blew me away. This one blew me away. And our last one, Apocalypse War, blew me away. The only bad movie in the stack is Justice League War. And it's a rough, second part. It really is. But it does introduce Apocalypse and Darkseid. And it does form the Justice League. Those are our takeaways. Now, any of the other relationships that are seen in Justice League War really don't carry over to anything because a lot of time goes by. So whatever. So it makes it a little bit more unique, but you can take it or leave it. But in my opinion, you have to take it. So why am I excited? Why is this thing interesting to me? Look, I'm a lifelong comic book geek. This movie went into a side of the DC universe. A lot of people will call this the Vertigo side. Vertigo was an imprint that was largely a adult themed, like a more graphic novel-esque. Even though, God, I hate that term, but it was just more adult-driven imprint of DC Comics. It was called Vertigo, and within that they had Swamp Thing. And then they had Constantine, and then with Sandman, and it goes on and on. But they really could never recreate some of the heat of their prime successes. And they have a lot of good books, but in all, it's only a handful of books that really excelled through Vertigo. So what happened is that DC goes through this revamp. They get rid of everything, and they roll in these Vertigo characters into DC proper. Constantine and Swamp Thing, we're talking about those guys. And essentially what happens at that point, it's very interesting. It's very interesting because we get this idea, this comic book called Justice League Dark. And it has like Deadman and Zatanna and Constantine and Swamp Thing, and you're like, what is this? It's just all of the leftover magic characters, and they're just calling it Justice League. Here's the thing, I still agree with that notion. Justice League Dark is a silly idea. It's a silly term. I don't think it's very marketable. They could have called this something else. Because we're calling it Justice League, we have to throw in the Dark Knight. Now, I'm not sure if the Dark Knight rolls through the comic, through the initial story of the comic. I really don't know. But he's here. So we have the Dark Knight with a bunch of magic characters. And yet again, oh man, I'm kind of trashing this, explaining it to you. But yet again, we have the Dark Knight running around people who are far more powerful than he can ever imagine to be, doing nothing, essentially doing nothing. But here's the thing: if you're not familiar with these magical themed characters, you get the Harry Potter branch of the DC universe. This movie is a wonderful, perfect introduction, because it's been a while since I spent time with Constantine and Swamp Thing, and these. Look, Alan Moore's Swamp Thing run is maybe one of the top 5 runs ever in comics, but Swamp Thing never carried over. But I'm a huge fan of Swamp Thing, though. See, that's the funny thing. So Swamp Thing's a part of this movie and upcoming Justice League Dark Apocalypse War isn't it's not huge. He's just like this. He's like an add-on character. Usually has 1 or 2 scenes. This movie is really about Constantine, Zatanna, and Deadman. Zatanna and Deadman. I'm not again like 100% familiar with those characters, but I loved seeing them in this. I thought they were so cool and interesting. Getting into the demon world, the demon realm. This is Raven from Teen Titans. Like her side tangent, like her origin. It's awesome. It's just fun. It's cool. It's great. This movie has peaks and valleys, storyline wise, which is good. And you follow it. And usually with the magic stuff, that's where your brain starts to kind of drift off and you lose interest. But really, swear to God, I don't think I said that on this podcast. Justice League Dark delivers on a completely new level, and you immediately want more when you're done with it, which is amazing. So this leads into Constantine. So this movie sets up Constantine. It sets up the idea that the Justice League would want magical characters. Now, that's Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate should be the one that runs all of this for the Justice League. But whatever, he's not around in this animated universe. But we have Constantine. And Constantine's pretty much replaced the need for Dr. Fate. I don't agree with it because Constantine is a character too much of his own. Also in this movie and Justice League Dark, we get the Demon. And we get, again, amazing stuff with the Demon. Really cool. Like, I buy in on it, and I really buy in on how they use the Demon in Apocalypse War, because we see the Demon meet his end. Spoiler, who cares? In Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, and this movie kind of goes a little bit into his origin as well. Now, we've had like Justice League Unlimited, some of the late 90s or early 2000s interpretations. Some of these characters came through Justice League Unlimited, but they weren't as cool and as prominent. And look, this is more R-rated type storytelling, so it needs to go there, and this movie does. This movie has a sense of deadly stakes. It has the types of interpretations you want. They're not definitive interpretations, but that's a little bit of the age we're in. There's no such thing as a definitive interpretation, period, which really stinks. But look, everyone, you have to go see this movie, Justice League Dark. The next movie, Constantine, City of Demons, is by far one of the best single animated movies I've seen in a very long time, and we're going to get into that because that movie also is deadly serious, and we're building here. We're building off of Paradox, just Flashpoint Paradox. I don't know what to call that movie sometimes, because Flashpoint begins with this flashback that is serious, and we're building on that. So when we get to Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, there is just no hope in sight when we see how that unfolds. I think it's perfectly done. That's why we stack these movies. We don't want to break up our viewing between Justice League Dark, Constantine, and Apocalypse War, because between those movies, we have about 6 movies between those 3. Okay, and we're moving into different tangents that they take our mind off of like the prize almost. Like we get to drift a little bit too much and too long. Staying consistent with these beats is the way to go. But everyone, Peter A. DeLuca here, AKAPAD. Thank you for joining me. I love you. And episode 305, we got something special. We got Constantine City of Demons. Let's rock and roll. Until next time. Everyone, thanks for just hanging out to the very end, because look, I'm doing this a lot of this is therapy for me, but this episode is dedicated to my father, Tony DeLuca, Big T, the TD. And he recently passed away, and everything I'm doing for this stretch is dedicated to him, because so much of how he raised me is in these episodes. So if there's anything you'd like, as of like, hey, Pete sounds like a cool, fun guy, you have him to thank. And you also have him to thank for putting that seed in me that watching movies was just a cool thing to do. It was a cool thing to share with people. And this is pre-internet. It was just something you did to have a good time. And that's what this podcast is all about. So Big T, I love you and I miss you.